What is going on, everybody? It is Brad here. Welcome to a new episode of Crush This Monster Truck Podcast. No guests tonight. I know last week we mentioned that Preston Perez was going to be coming on. Don't know what's going on, but I'm rolling solo tonight. Cheech is having some issues with his internet. Hashtag blame Frontier. And we're just gonna hang out. We're gonna watch some old school monster trucks. We're gonna watch the Lima, Ohio Panda Monster Truck race from 1993, the infamous wheelie run. So I need to share screen here. Boom, share. And this was uploaded by my good buddy Dalton Hastings. And yeah, let's get into it. Kind of a different episode tonight. Let me know how audio is, guys. Hopefully everything sounds okay. But let's get into it.
The men and machines of the MZRA soar to greater heights. But a defiant breed of new challengers is looking to bring the king to the hill.
Hopefully you guys have had a good day. I've been working like a madman lately.
Coming up next,
pulling 12-hour days, just
Lima, Ohio.
trying to make that money. What an intro.
This is
Like, oh, I miss these days of monster trucks, man.
Jamboree Spring Nationals. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the National Network. Today we come to you from the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee. There is a sea of change for all you
Rest in
monster
peace,
truck
Gary
fans.
Lee.
In addition to new trucks and new drivers, well, the best and the biggest name in the business is ushering in a brand new era. And here with more on that story is my sidekick, Army Armstrong.
You're exactly right, Gary. And
what a legend right there, Army Armstrong.
And that's exactly what's happening now. A lot of new blood coming in.
I forget. I always forget that Army's not his actual name. I forget what his like true name is. I can't remember.
To find out why he's making some of the moves that he's making right now. It's almost like a chess game. This is what he had to say.
Well, we want to keep racing, monster truck racing, going ahead. And Bigfoot organization, we've actually...
There is Bob Chandler himself.
He's in management. Andy Brass right now is our top driver. He won the series last year. We moved him to an RD truck, Wildfoot we're calling it. And that's the newest Bigfoot vehicle, Bigfoot race team vehicle. And we've brought Gene Patterson, who has been driving Bigfoot's trucks in the past, moved him up to the second position.
I just asked Cheech what Army's
so
name is.
See what's going to happen. It's a test. The new truck here is a test. We're going to see how it works out. So far, it's been good, but we're always
cool.
Changing.
I found out.
And a master of the game is Bob Chandler.
I think it was Brian Loans. I asked him a question on Instagram, and I asked him, you know, I think Army Armstrong or Gary Lee or something, and he mentioned that he works with Army Armstrong's kid, I believe. It was either Army or Steve Evans. I can't remember. That was a couple weeks ago.
Wildfoot truck.
I'd love to see what a current truck would do on a course like this, like the old Penta style tracks. I wonder how the modern day chassis and engine suspension would handle. It'd probably be faster. It might be around the same times. Who knows?
Take a little bit more than what he's got.
And I always wondered why on this, I think Lima, why they didn't use crush cars at the end of the track. They always had the dirt ramp. That's one kind of thing I've always wondered as well.
Dabney's experience showed on the starting line, but Hall on the other end of the track became a real big player here. He literally pushed Dabney for Dabney to go into that next round. Hall will be around.
That was a close race.
This year is over, Gary Lee.
Among the sea of changes we alluded to earlier, there is a new driver in the snakebite camp, a newcomer named Rick Rattler. Now wears the mask.
AKA.
Army talked to him about it.
Well, Gary, in the past, when you saw this
You'll see.
insignia and a man with the
See if
hood,
you can guess.
knew that
People already know.
Cobra was in town with the snakebite truck. The snakebite truck is going to be here today. The hood's going to be here today. You might even see this, but there is a new driver, Rick Rattler. Rick, what are you doing in this truck?
Well, Coates in the research and development Army, and
That
I'm
is
here to
the
prove
one
point,
and
Colt
only
knows that I can
Mr.
drive
Dan
this truck
Rente.
just as good as he can, or maybe even a little better.
Hey, Sean, how's it going, buddy?
And I'm here to rattle a few
Hopefully you're feeling
cages,
good,
and
brother.
That's
Hopefully
why
you're doing
they call
good.
me Rick Rattler.
Fear the fangs.
Oh, I love that. The camp we call the snake bite.
Scott
And
Stevens in
Rattler
the other lane.
Rattler in the near lane taking on Scott Stevens.
Rattler's snake-like reflexes got him up the start line first, but Stevens out of Woodlands, Texas /
Spoiler alert.
Mile an hour him on the other end, Gary.
And
There's
member of the
a
old guard,
amazing
Wayne
man right there.
Smosani,
Rest in
taking
peace,
on veteran
Wayne.
David Morris, and as has been his custom, another wild ride for Wayne Smosani.
Well, Smosanic literally got in the catch fence down in Naples, Florida. They've been trying to get the chassis ironed out. As you can tell, it is not back together 100%. As a matter of fact, on this run, the rear end kicked around on him, and if he had been on his toes, he'd have been in trouble, Gary.
Spin a Rooney there.
On now with
Pulling
more
on Booker
round one
T.
action. Fred Schaefer, who qualified 8th, had to take on Gene Patterson. Remember, Gene now is in Bigfoot. He qualified number 2. Normally, this is a matchup you might see in the finals, but here, Fred goes home early.
No love lost. Ford versus Dodge. Look at this. Two bad boys going at each other.
Oh, heck yeah, that was a good race.
Back in the next round, though. The red Dodge, he goes on.
Good friend of the podcast right there, Gene
Round 2
Patterson.
action coming up when we come back.
Love that
from
guy.
Lima,
He's always a
Ohio.
fun time to talk to. Markhausen. That eventually will happen.
Welcome
It'll
back
probably
to the Allen County
maybe be our
Fairgrounds
Christmas
here in
episode.
Lima,
We don't know
Ohio,
yet.
as Ford Trucks present the Penda 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Spring Nationals, a part of the BF Goodrich Performance Racing
Is
Series.
Penda still
Everybody
around?
currently
That's one thing I've
alongside
always
Army
kind of wondered
Armstrong, and
sometimes
looking at those
if they're
round
still
one
around.
Highlights, you may have noticed a dramatic change in the track layout. Gone are the second set of cars. They've been replaced with a dirt ramp, and earlier Army talked to some of the competitors.
What they're doing, they're just experimenting with us. Last year, cars would go away and you might fly through there a little bit crooked one way or another, and it was endangering us and the vehicles and spectators. So we're trying to make it a lot safer. We're taking steps. George Carpenter with Special Events Promotion Company is doing a lot for us.
A lot of guys.
Okay, I got to go back for a second. So I'm noticing the headers on Bigfoot. That looks like an exhaust pipe there. So on some of the early rear engine Bigfoot trucks, were they running the exhaust all the way out the back of the chassis instead of out and under the body, like how it started to become? That's an interesting thing, because I've seen some shots of them doing that, but I don't know if they were doing that around this time. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. I just kind of clued in there. But look at that mustache. Like that is a man's mustache right there.
George
I wish I
Carpenter
could
with
grow
Special
something like
Events
that, but I
Promotion
got
Company's doing a lot for us.
A lot of guys are feeling intimidated by
the
it.
two
I kinda
mustache
like
with
the new
nothing in
track.
the middle.
I think the truck will do well on it, and I really think the truck will hold up well.
Do you think that this is going to eliminate the possibility of, in the past, of having a good lane and a bad lane? All the lanes will stay the same now that second jump is going to be consistent?
Well, there'll always be a good lane and a bad lane. Regardless, there's no way you can build two lanes identical, but this should make them a whole lot closer.
Well, there's a look at that ramp right there as we now take a look at second round matchup.
We're in the second
As Wildfoot
round.
going against Nightmare, King Crunch against the Carolina Crusher, and Equalizer against Bigfoot. The fast loser will come back for the semi-round. So great weather, a great crowd on hand, and we have some great competition here in Lima, Ohio. As we
There's
take a look
Mr. Gary
at
Porter
Gary
in
Porter
Carolina
the
Crusher.
Carolina Crusher.
What a
Now, Gary has
badass looking
been
truck.
away for a while. We've seen Gary Wiggins in this truck, but right now Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, is back in the cockpit of the Carolina Crusher, and he likes these outdoor tracks. Here's a guy that goes well outdoors, King Crunch, the Auto Value King Crunch truck out of Texas. This is Scott Stevens.
Both of these drivers, Gary, are involved in multi-truck teams right now. That's why we haven't seen Porter. He's been doing some research and development.
I feel like King Crunch is way longer than Crusher, but you could just be my eyes tricking with me.
Truck. Does that tell you something? Chevrolet going up against the GMC, and Porter drilled Stevens on that starting line, Gary.
Yeah, he won
Whoa,
that
we
at
got
the
a problem
Christmas
here.
tree.
Stevens is in trouble down here, Gary.
He has broken the rear suspension, perhaps wiped out the brake line. He does get a woad, yes, before he collects that fence down there.
What a run.
Oh, that'll make you stop breathing for a moment.
I don't know what happened. He cleared the first set of jumps. One thing about the ramps, we were talking to the drivers earlier, they do get a lot of air. Let's watch Stevens when he comes over the ramp. See how much air he does get. And when he hits hard. He hits a ton on the rear end of that truck. That's when something let go, and I believe it wiped the brake lines out at that point in time.
That
right there, you can see something fly off
was
the back of the truck,
a
and he is trying to
ride.
get this
Holy
very heavy
crap.
truck load before he catches that fence down there as they assess the damage. And Army is standing by to talk with the crew chief, Rob Grossman.
Well, Gary, right now I've got the crew chief from the King Kunz crew with us. We're going to try to find out, as you're looking at some of the action, exactly what happened. Looks like a tremendous amount of impact. It bent the both bottom 4 link bars.
Yeah, we're not sure what caused it, but we know that we're not going to be able to get it back for the next round. And I mean, we got 4 link bars bent, drive shaft fell out, brake rotors bent, got into the crankshaft on the
Nick Davis is a legend.
Pan. We got quite a bit of damage to work with.
But Scott's okay.
Scott's fine.
Thanks a lot.
Scott's fine, but he's probably pissed off.
Well, there is a look at Bigfoot with a new driver in the cockpit. We say new.
Look at the back.
Not new to the Bigfoot organization.
Yeah, they were running.
I
can't tell if they were running the exhaust out the very back of the truck, like in the frame rails or not, or the chassis.
Truck and going up against Bigfoot will be David Morris out of Tennessee.
Yes, you are, Nick. You're a legend.
On the circuit, they just keep bringing this thing back year after year, and it's very competitive.
Thank you to Nick Davis with Back Channel Productions for sponsoring the Crush System Monster Truck Podcast, along with J Concepts. If you are into the RC stuff and you want some cool J Concepts parts, use code CRUSH-THIS at jconcepts.net for 15% off all items.
Going forward, these 2 trucks are perfect examples. But when the light goes green, somebody's got to go to the other end. It'll be a Ford this time, Gary.
That'll be Gene Patterson in Bigfoot number 10. That computer-designed 2-frame race truck out of St. Louis.
You know, Patterson's an interesting story. He came into the sport actually crewing with the Bigfoot team, and Bob Chandler works his guys through an apprenticeship. They'll start at a certain level and then work to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. And Patterson now has worked his way up to be the number 2 driver on this team. That's about as American a dream as you can have come true for you right there.
Well, these guys can work on these trucks as well as drive these trucks as part of that apprenticeship.
Exactly.
I think this is not the run.
Good-looking new paint job. It's Wildfoot. Don't get yourself. This is part of the Bigfoot organization. There's a man that's been.
Now there's a man with a good mustache.
Andy Brass out of St. Louis.
I don't know who Statler and Waldorf is.
Now this is earlier. Round 1 against Don Van Loo.
Got to get the plugs in, man. Got to get the plugs in.
The Magnum Force pick up, and it was all Andy Brass.
Van Loo had
yeah, Equalizer does look like a wide wheelist. There's a badass truck. I've always loved the way that truck looked. I always love the look of the GMCs compared to the Chevys. Like even my dad's personal truck, not his work truck, but his personal truck, 03 GMC. I love the way it looked.
Dabney's a guy that I call a kamikaze.
Right there, we get a little teaser of what's to come.
Look at that. He's pushing that new Wildfoot. Oh, there goes.
Oh, there he goes.
He rolls it on over, doesn't make it all the way over. He was in trouble midway through.
Oh, man.
And did not lift. He knew he was in trouble, but he was
just completely yard sales it.
Well, that GTS fiberglass body really takes a beat. Look at this. Here comes Kirk. He's all right. Kirk Dabney is climbing out.
I guess we'll probably watch race 2 after this. Why not? I'm having some fun chatting with you also.
From the
the chassis held up. You know, that's why they built.
Yeah, you can tell he's a little shaken up.
All right, breathe the sigh of relief, Gary. He's going to come out of this thing okay.
And the fans are happy to see him climb away. And I think you're down in a position now where perhaps you can get a word with Kirk Dabney.
Well, Gary, real quick, things are kind of active down here on the other end. First of all, are you okay?
Yeah, Army, I'm fine.
What caused
you can tell he's like, I don't want to talk to you.
It looks like front steering linkage let go on the impact after the second jump. It's a little early to tell, but that's what the best guess is right now.
Okay, well, I understand the EMTs want to get a look at you, get over there. Thanks a lot for coming over. Man, we're sorry about the bad luck.
Hey, we'll be back, guys. Thank you very much.
We will catch our breath, clear the track, and come back with more from Lima, Ohio.
Okay, wait, what, Nick?
Welcome back to Lima,
it was designed
Ohio.
On a nat. What?
No. The damage on Nightmare following this.
Where'd you hear this? Is it from Kirk himself?
He is in trouble, Army, almost from the beginning.
Well, in no man's land, the truck gets a little out of shape right there. Now, when he lands, something lets go in the front, and man, he high sides immediately. Boy, I am so glad they build these trucks strong, Gary.
That was one hard shot that he took, but
that's
okay.
Kind of neat.
Now the wreckage is being cleared off the track, and we are getting ready for semifinal action.
Is that Alan Pizzo? Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute.
Action.
Is that Alan Pizzo right there? I think that's Alan Pizzo. I see the Coke bottle glasses, that wicked red mullet. I swear that's Alan Pizzo.
wreckage is being cleared off the track.
Yeah, that's
and we're getting
Alapizo.
ready for semifinal action. Gene Patterson in Bigfoot in the
I didn't
far
know that.
lane. Earlier, Army talked to Gene about stepping into the shoes of Andy Brass.
I'm here to do one thing. You know, I've been off the circuit for a couple of years now. And Chandler put me behind the wheel of Bigfoot 10, and it was a champ last year. And I'm going to do everything I can to put that Ford team in #1 spot.
And he pulls alongside the Carolina Crusher with Gary Porter.
Carolina Crusher sounds mean,
And
dude.
just as intense as Patterson has put Ford #1, Porter with the Carolina Crusher, he wants those Chevrolet people to have something to cheer about. This is the old, there's a lot of old rivalries starting to come around. The longer this sport goes, look at here. Look at this kid out of North Carolina, but Foot comes back.
What's wrong with the Carolina Crusher? Something at the very end of that run. He had the foot covered, and something mechanically happened to Gary Porter.
I think it was something happened. The engine just cut clean. Look at the leave on him. Boy, the Chevrolet's out. Patterson knows he's in trouble. But
Hey, Nick,
right
any
here,
update on that Thunder
the engine
Nationals
just burst
documentary?
for
I
a
was
second, and that allows
scrolling
Patterson to
through
pick up that mile an
YouTube a
hour
couple
and
days ago,
fly
and
past
some
him.
of that, I was looking at Thunder Nationals
He
stuff
will go to
and
the finals, but he's
the
down
stuff
in
he put up a
Army.
while back
Well, Gary racing a lot of time. They say it's better to be lucky
came
than
up
to be good.
on
Gene
my search.
Patterson is talking with a crew chief here. Gene, I'm going to be real honest with you. I think he had you.
Yeah, he did, Army. You know, I could see him out of the corner of my eye all the way. You know, we shifted her in
Still a
high
few
gear
interviews.
with
Okay.
Ford power
I'm
takeover.
excited to see what
Like
you've cooked up
Firestone
for that.
Fire
You
took
know,
Ford down our end, and
Thunder
take the
Nationals
pass
was a
up on
special
finish
time in
line
the
down
sport,
there.
and I can't wait
That's all
to
it takes in this
see.
racing
And
game. You know, there's a
if
winner
people
and
didn't
loser in every
see,
round. All these boys out here running
Rambo
this weekend are winners.
has made
As long
a
as we keep
reappearance. I
going one
bet
more
Cheech is
round, make
very
more
happy about that.
Trailmaster,
That's one of
BDS,
his
we're
very
rolling.
favorite trucks of all time.
Well, coming up next, the equalizer.
Here we go,
with
everybody.
David
This
Mullers
is
out of
the
Tennessee, and he pulls
run.
alongside Wildfoot and Andy Brass.
Andy Brass is tickled to death to be driving this truck. There's not a lot of pressure on him. He's already proven he's one of the premier drivers in the
8-year
sport.
project on
He's
that.
going up against this kid out of Tennessee, been around a long time. But Brass likes the idea of you being involved in a research and development truck. He likes to experiment. He likes to try something new. And believe me, you can just tell by looking at this truck, the way the suspension sits, it's different from the
Here we go.
just sitting on the start line. Look at that, look at that.
Wheel stand.
Whoa!
The
Second
wheelie
there
run.
with the rear
Damn.
tires. That's not the configuration you want to go over that jump. Oh,
Wow.
I
Man,
tell you what, that was driving skill that
Yeah.
brought that truck back. Now watch the wheel stand in no man's land, and watch him hit that second ramp with the rear end.
on the throttle. See, he making so much power, he just pulls a wheelie all the way over.
I've always
That
wanted to
was
find out
neat.
Andy, like what,
I don't know how neat
like,
that
how
was
is
in the cockpit.
like,
Here's
oh, we'll find
Andy.
out here.
Andy Brass, it's final time, but in the semifinals, you took a run. I've seen a lot. I've never seen anything like that. What went through your mind on that run?
Well, the only thing I could think of right there when she pulled the wheels, I was like, well, if I let out of it, you know, I knew Equalizer was going to run a good time. I had to more or less stay.
Another quick thing I wanted to inquire about, Nick, you might know. If you look on Andy's fire suit, you have BF Goodrich here, but Firestone, because I know they're sponsored by Firestone. Is BF Goodrich and Firestone part of the same company? I don't think so, but I don't know how Firestone would have felt if that, but that's just something I just noticed.
She pulled the wheels. I was like, well, if I let out of it, you know, I knew Equalizer was going to run a good time. I had to more or less stay in it. And I knew if we run her up the hill, she was probably going to nose over after the hill. And we just, when she started to come down, we just tried to stay back in and keep the front wheels forward, and hopefully she pulled us back down on the ground, and that's what it did.
A veteran driver talking about how he averts disaster. The championship coming up, and I can tell you the winner will come from St. Louis. It'll be Wildfoot against Bigfoot. Welcome back as we take a look at a beautiful piece in the show and shine area at the Allen County Fairgrounds here in Lima, Ohio, where Ford trucks present the Penda four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals, part of the BF Goodrich Performance Series. These jamborees offer a host of activities for the truck lover as well as the entire family. Find out more, call or write the Special Events Promotion Company. The side-by-side championship shootout coming up next. Two trucks from St. Louis, Missouri are the Bigfoot fleet. There is
Oh, 100%.
the latest development of Bob
I'd
Chandler,
say,
Andy Brass on board.
Gene Patterson should be up in that
Bigfoot 10,
discussion as
now
well.
being driven by Gene Patterson.
Gene's
Before this
Gene's
run,
mustache
Army
was
Armstrong had a chance to
legendary
talk to
too.
both competitors.
Gary, Gene Patterson, the man that took Andy Brass's seat, is going against Andy Brass in the final. How do you prepare for it, Gene?
Hey, same thing says on my helmet, no fear. You know, got the Ford Bigfoot in the finals. That's what we set out to do here in the first race this season. And, you know, we're happy to be here. it don't matter who's in that lane. We got 2 Fords in the finals, and that means a lot to us.
It's going to be a good race. It's what I can say. You know, Gene's been with us for a while. He's been doing a lot of racing. He's a good driver. You know, Gene's been out here. He's run the truck. He stepped into a good truck. You know, we run the championship with it last year, so he's got a real good piece of equipment. We come out here with the Wildfoot truck. It's the same thing basically as his, only a little bit new equipment on it. We're trying to do some research and development, and I think the truck's been proving itself. So, you know, you're going to have 2 trucks. It's almost
Andy may have been short, but in that truck, he was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I tell you that.
This
I tell you what.
And it will be interesting, and I'm going to tell you something to look for. Nobody's going
Now, do you guys want to watch race 2, or you want to watch something
get
different? I'm going to leave it up to you guys in the chat there, if you're still there, Nick and Sean.
This is going to be the
But what do you guys want to watch next?
Circus at the end of this track. I'll guarantee you, these guys are going to air these mountain motor Fords out big time.
Well, what does Andy Brass do for an encore after that last semifinal wheel stand?
Go across the finish line first. That's all he can do.
And it looks like he will do that by, only a nose, if that much.
Wow, what a race.
Wildfoot with Andy Brass by about that much over the Bigfoot truck number 10 of Gene Patterson.
Patterson is doing a fine job in that truck. Like he says, no fear. That's the name of this game.
Bigfoot, the far lane, Wildfoot, the near lane, side by side right here, and it's still fender to fender, and Andy noses over, but takes the victory. Let's go trackside, Army.
No worse. Congratulations, bud. Great run. Thank you. Well, real quick, I'm going to hang on to both of you guys while I got you here. Jim Kramer, you left the driver's seat. This kid kind of came up, took your place. Then you go to the head of the research and development. He follows you, and you're both winners. Is it something in the blood or what?
And I tell you what, Andy's been great. You know, Andy worked with me for years, and he's probably the best driver we got in the organization.
Race 2,
right
let's
now.
do it.
And he's come along. It's great to get to be able to work with him. I got a lot of ideas. I know a lot of guys back in the shop have a lot of good ideas, and it's great to have a guy like him come out and test them for us.
How do you feel about going out there and testing the unknown? Any other driver, any other truck would not have pulled through that wheelie that you took today. That's showing your research and development program is working.
Well, what I have to say there is a lot for the suspension. You know, we're working with Trailmaster there, and the Ford Wildfoot's been doing pretty good. You know, like I say, we worked with Trailmaster. The suspension worked out good. I think a lot of it that had to do, you know, we come down on the nose. The truck did handle pretty good. I stepped on it a little bit, brought it back down, and we didn't spend our time bouncing. It settled down and laid down back, and we could control it. So I have to say a lot for that, you know.
Army, there's one thing here. One thing to say about that, riding that wheelie, it takes a lot of heart to do that. You know, he's got it right here where it counts. He didn't give up, and that's what I like about him.
A lot of heart and a
Two
lot of
icons
talent.
right there.
John, there's a lot of respect between those two people. They are definitely a credit to the sport. What's the first thing he does? Goes over and congratulates Patterson. That's the caliber and individual they are.
And our congratulations to Andy Brass. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Trailers.
Race 2.
When it's time to go big, go 6 cheesy foldable slices big with the Big New Yorker.
As the monsters of the MTRA roll in the Lima, Ohio, some
Good shot of Mongoose, Predator.
Alan Pizzo's Predator claw his way to the top, or will he end up kitty litter? Will KG veteran Gary Porter regain his championship form of 2 seasons ago?
Nick, like,
And is there
what kind of yellow diamonds are we talking about? The Nitro variety or the Monster variety of yellow diamonds?
This is Trucks and Tractor Power featuring the All-Stars of the 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Spring Nationals.
Yellow diamonds are good. If you know, you know.
Tractor Power on the
Good old Diamond
Network.
Peace boards.
Today we're at the Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio for the 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree.
I would
Spring
love,
Nationals. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee. Well, another question we have is what hand Mother Nature will play in today's competition. It's wet, it is soggy.
Behind, not behind the scenes, but like
so I've moved inside a remote
Steve
facility.
Evans,
And of course,
Gary
the weather will
Lee,
add
all
to the
those guys like
of the
in
monster
between
truck
takes,
competition.
just
But right
talking
now, let's
or
go trackside.
oh yeah,
My
master
colleague
tapes.
Army Armstrong
That's
is in
what
a position
I'm talking
to
about.
survey our rather sloppy
Dude.
track conditions.
Gary, we're standing about 250 feet past the finish line. Normally, this is a shutdown area, but this is the area that could shut these guys down today. As you can see,
I've
the
always
moisture's
wanted,
here
I know
today,
Steve
and there's nothing in the world
did
slicker
some of
than
the
grass that's
TNT
wet.
stuff back
Well,
in the day. I think he
track
did
crew
one
knew that,
event.
so they've
I
gone,
would
and in the
see Steve
shutout
Evans
area,
do
they've actually
some of this
pulled
stuff.
back or peeled back a layer of grass, but in doing that, they've created maybe another monster that our monsters have to deal with. That's mud. This could be a real exciting area before the day's over. As a matter of fact,
Probably not this year, Sean. That is the busy time
you.
for the oil field here
An
in
Army
Canada.
action
I'm
from
hoping
round
next
one.
year.
We'll look at Mark Watrous in the
But
Mongoose
yeah,
truck. And here's a
probably
guy who's
won't
accustomed
be
to the
for a
mud.
while.
Mark is a former mud racer. We've seen him on this program competing in the Team Rancho Funny Car. Watrous is now getting into monster truck
Oh, look
racing
at the
in a
Mongoose.
Ford he calls the Mongoose. And here at round one, he takes on David Morris in the Equalizer. Watrous shows he may be a player.
I
to
wonder
reckon with
what
down the
trucks
road.
would like, because I
Right
know
now, David
you
Morris
have
is showing why he's one of the top drivers in the country.
Mongoose there.
Tell you what,
But
old
like,
Mongoose
what,
ran him a good little
who
race
who
down there,
all
though.
would
Boy,
show
he's
up
gonna
to
go
try to
back up.
qualify in? Like,
Yeah,
that's something I
definitely
kind
that.
of wonder.
Another
There's the
newcomer
man
to this
himself.
circuit is Alan Pizzo. He's got a great-looking truck called the Predator. Now, Alan's had a rough go so far here in Lima. During the first day of
Yeah, buddy.
qualifying, Pizzo would sustain heavy rear-end damage.
fine.
Which is very tough land. Watch, right here. Oops, there goes the suspension. Now, he qualified for today's race. Now, in round one, Pizzo in the near lane taking on Mark Hall, and it appears as if the same thing happens again. Then watch Mark Hall in that slick shutdown area. All kinds of action here. There goes the suspension, and there goes Mark out through some very wet grass.
See, Gary, that's exactly what we were talking about. And as you well know, boy, you're not going to find anything in the world slicker than wet grass. Meanwhile, major suspension problems to that vehicle.
Yeah, it's been an expensive weekend for Alan Pizzo and the Predator. Second time, first time in qualifying, now in the round one competition with some severe damage to the rear suspension. And after this run, Army talked to Alan Pizzo.
Well, the first time you qualified to run on this circuit, you know, you got to be a little bit disappointed with the problem.
Yeah, we've had our problems over the weekend. We've broken 2 rear shocks and, one 4-link bar this weekend. But, that's what it's all about in racing. You take your good days and your bad days, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Ken Deppy was one of 3 drivers representing the Dodge contingent with high hopes coming into Lima, Ohio. Deppy now in the far lane, and he's taking on a guy we're glad to see back on the circuit, Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. Deppy, the Dodge Express, would take Porter right to the limit, but goes onto the trailer nonetheless. Next up at the Dodge camp would be Don Van Loo, who had the unenviable task of drawing Andy Brass in the first round. The latest entry of Bob and Marilyn Chandler's racing stable is called Wildfoot. Magnum Force was simply no match for Andy Brass.
Andy Brass showed right there. He was a class of the field today. That eliminated.
I still want to get Andy on this podcast. That is my bucket list episode for me, is Andy Brass.
During round one. Now, Fred had the new Bigfoot driver, Gene Patterson, just where he wanted him, but no, Fred Schaefer couldn't get the job done with Barefoot, and he goes home early.
Fred Schaefer would be another good episode as well, but Andy is my number one bucket list since we started this thing almost 10 years ago.
Round 2 action coming up next. Welcome back to the Allen County Fairgrounds here in Lima, Ohio, as Ford Trucks present the Penda 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Spring Nationals. It's a part of the BF Goodrich Performance Racing Series. Hi, everybody. Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong as we take a look now at round 2 competition. That will be Wildfoot against the Carolina Crusher, Equalizer against Tropical Thunder. The Executioner is in against Bigfoot because the Predator broke. So there is a look at your second round competition. The fast loser will advance to the semi.
Gary, I really like the way that these pairings are at the Jamboree. The fan that buys a ticket constantly gets to see side-by-side racing.
Well, there's a look at Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. And Army, earlier you took a look at this vehicle in hopes of shedding some new light on a very tightly guarded area in this sport of monster truck racing, the torque converter. Army?
Motorsports, there's a lot of secrets, as you well know, and the transmission innards, if you will, seem to be the spot that everybody holds closest to their chest. They don't want people to know what type of torque converter they're running in these vehicles. Now, you got to remember the torque converter is what takes the 1,800 horsepower from the engine and puts it to the rear tires to drive these vehicles. And a torque converter is normally only 8 inches long. That is this piece of equipment right here. Now, Neil Chance has teamed up with Gary Porter to make a 2-piece torque converter. What that does, it allows Porter,
and
with his monster truck, to adjust The stall
Oh,
speed
Brad
up
Shipperton here.
for more
What's going
RPM
on,
on the
Brad?
starting
How you
line,
doing, buddy?
or down for less RPM on the starting line to actually tune the truck to the track condition. That's why these 10,000-pound monster trucks are able now to actually do wheelies on the starting line, something only seen in the past in the drag racing sport, but now the monsters are literally leaping off the starting line. Back to you, Gary.
Neil Chance is a
Army,
big
speaking
name
of
in drag
wheelies, we
racing
wanna go
still to
back
this
a couple
day,
of weeks
so
now to a run
shows
turned
how
in
well
by
his
Andy
products are.
Brass in Wildfoot. You talked about the ability of
Look at those
a wheelie
good
through the
old
run.
Firestone tires.
Now this is Wildfoot, the newest in the Bob Chandler Bigfoot organization out of St. Louis, Missouri, and watch him carry the front wheels.
This is what I call
still
a
such a
wheelie.
oh.
Watch it.
But it's the experience
There's
of
certain
Andy
moments
Brass.
in
He
monster
knows he
trucks
has
that
to
are
pull
just
the throttle because
badass.
that
That
car
is one of them.
truck noses over.
Gravedigger
He
Atlanta
has to keep the
2000 is
throttle
another one.
down because then the four wheels will pull him back out of it.
Exactly. You get a corner touching the ground, it'll get you going straight again.
Oh, look at those
All
cleats.
right, Andy Brass pulls alongside Gary
I
Porter.
think it was
Both of these
the
drivers
end of
are on the
'94. I don't think he
levers on the
drove
start
one
line.
afterwards.
It's gonna be Chevrolet against
I'm
Ford,
pretty
Gary.
sure
What
of
do you
that.
think?
Well, I'll tell you what, this
I know he
Wildfoot truck
crewed
has
for a
shown lot in the
NASCAR
early
team.
stages of competition, and it's all over for Gary
There's
Porter.
also a rare
Being up front against
event that I
Wildfoot
didn't
is
know.
the
It's
class of field today,
rare
Porter
but
had
not
an
rare.
electrical problem. His motor cut clean right before
Andy
the second
crewed
jump.
for
I don't know
Dan
if it's
Patrick
moisture or what, but
at one point.
boy, when it went away, it went away quick.
Both him and Gene Patterson
As
were
you
crewing
indicated, this
for
race could
Dan
be
Patrick.
won at the starting line. They are side by side right here over that first jump. Now something happens to the Carolina Crusher. Let's go down trackside and find
Brad
out.
Wildfoot
Yeah,
was
I tell you what, this
just
seems like if you're
badass.
snake bit as far as
Brad,
something
you know what they need
electrical
to
in
do? They
this
need to
truck.
do like a
I know,
Bigfoot or
can't seem to get it
a
figured
monster
out.
truck
Had me the
inspired
last
Dixon
couple of
flannel.
days in qualifying
I would
and
buy
during
that
the
in a
race.
damn heartbeat.
So I got him off the line there, and I was pulling him a little bit there on the flat, and then my motor went away, and he just went on past me. There was nothing I could do. I don't know what the problem is.
For a
on my part.
berserker.
Well, we understand
Flannel?
there could be a problem in Wildfoot. As we take a look at the Wildfoot teammate, that is Bigfoot. That is Gene Patterson.
I wonder
We
what
understand that there could
and
be a
how
problem
Andy would,
in the
you know,
Wildfoot
what how
Ford
like
that just
because
won
we've
that
seen
carry
people
with the
lead
Carolina
like
Crusher.
look
Let's go
at
trackside once again. Here's Army.
Jim Kramer drove a modern
Yes,
truck.
we're looking at Andy Brass. Boy, this is something you don't see very often. They're taking him back into the pit area. Okay, look underneath the vehicle. He's punched a hole in the oil pan. You can see the oil coming out from the oil pan right now. So Andy's not going to stop and talk to us. They're not going to be able to come back. They have punched a hole in that big engine. Back to you, Gary.
Well, as that big Ford is towed back to the paddock area, we take a look at the
Oh,
executioner.
one of my
This
favorite
is
looking
Mark
trucks of all
Hall. He is
time.
at the
I'd
starting
love
line, and he pulls
Hall Brothers to
alongside
do a
Gene
retro
Patterson
executioner.
in Bigfoot.
Look at that
So
mullet.
marketing-
Okay, look at that damn mullet. That is a mullet. All right. Like, you know what? If Dan, if you're watching, we need to do like if something gets to so many likes, Mark has to grow the mullet again. I would love to see that. Mullets are the best. I'd love to see that mullet come back.
Brother Tim could be one of the best kept secrets in the sport. They've come around. They're paying their dues right now. And they are getting closer and closer each week. Gene Patterson steps up into an already proven truck. So Hall has got nothing to lose. You just lay everything on the line right here. No, not going to happen
Well, he
again.
didn't lay anything on the line because the truck wasn't there for him.
Something went away big time there.
So an easy pass for Gene Patterson as he will advance, but obviously something mechanically wrong with the executioner.
Boy,
And there's
that's a
look at
tough
Mark
break.
Hall, and
Believe me, Gary Lee, before this year's over, the Hall boys are going to be playing hardball with these guys.
well, the executioner just got shot in the foot there at the starting line, so he'll go back to the trailer, and Bigfoot will advance.
Yeah, but he'll get the last swing of the axe before this year's over.
Well, let's go back to the track and talk to Gene Patterson.
Gene, it seems like more and more pressure keeps getting put on your shoulders.
Yeah, that's right, Army. You know, a little rain here hurt us a little bit today, but we feel like the Firestones are hooking up real good. We got a good cut on these tires.
Yeah,
We've
I'd
been
like to
working
see
on for
another
a
battle
couple
of
months
Bigfoot,
now.
Sean. That'd be
We
sick.
detuned the motor a little bit. We geared the truck down. You know, we felt like this track wasn't going to take as much horsepower it has in the past. Seems like it's working for us. Put the Dodge on the trailer in the first round. We'll win another round. We're hanging out for the next one.
We are ready now for the final matchup in this second round. There is a look at David Morris in the equalizer. He will pull alongside Wayne Smozanik's
Now,
Tropical
I think
Thunder. Young
David
out of
owned
Springfield,
Equalizer at
Tennessee.
this
His truck's
point. He
been
had
around
bought
for a number of seasons, but
the other he bought the truck outright, I think, at this point.
Win, lose, or draw.
And there's Wayne
Smozanik
Smozanik.
out of Jupiter,
I
Florida.
agree, Brad. Yes,
His
I'd love to
experiences
see
in
driving
drag
interviews
racing
like this
before
back.
He made the move to the monster trucks. Now, going back to round one competition, Paul Schaefer in the Monster Patrol was Wayne's opponent. But Schaefer wasn't able to make it to the line, so Wayne had this bye run to advance to round 2.
Oh, Gary's okay. He did still have it.
Transmission back up here. They couldn't get to go in forward gear, so Smozanic rolls over into the next round. That truck is not handling at all. You notice the bounce in it? That's not a good set in chassis right now.
Well, here is a good set in chassis. This is the equalizer, David Morris. And Wayne has a problem right at the starting line. An easy pass for David Morris. He realized that Wayne Smozanic had trouble. Eased out the throttle.
Well, I don't know. Morris has got a burping sound with his engine. If I were here in a monster truck, I would not want to be lining up in that left lane.
Open faced helmet. What a badass.
And there's a look at Gary Porter, who may have caught a break with Wildfoot going on the trailer despite his loss to Andy Brass. He may be in the semifinals. We'll have the final 4 from Lima when we come back. Welcome back to Lima, Ohio, where Wayne Smozanic is leading a charmed life. With Wildfoot breaking and the executioner never making it off the line, Wayne will be coming back as the fast loser, despite making a run, taking a whopping 17 seconds. So there he is, the fast loser, Tropical Thunder, Wayne Smozanic out of Jupiter, Florida, and he will take on Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. The other bracket will have the equalizer, David Morris, and Bigfoot with Gene Patterson. So a very interesting final 4. And let's go down trackside and get some observations from Army Armstrong.
Gary, one of the things I'm thinking about here this afternoon, this is going to be a driver's track. Okay, we've got a lot of moisture down on the track surface. The driver's going to be running. Sun's starting to break through and everything, so horsepower is not going to be the major player here. What you're going to see, basically, is who can ever finesse these 10,000-pound.
I'm going to try to find the race that I mentioned that Gene and Andy were crewing. It was I think it was RCA Dome. Dennis Anderson. It was his last Penda appearance. I found it on Discord at one point, but I have to refind it. Maybe.
Wayne Smozanic has been having all kinds of problems.
I don't know.
Today,
I'll try to find it. Look at the weird shock angle on Tropical. I just noticed that.
Wayne, I tell you what, it's such a shame because you got so many big pieces in a monster truck, and there's a little bitty gremlin in there getting a hold of you. Something electric.
Yeah, it's electrical. I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, yes. Okay.
Having to keep a cover over.
Yeah, that'll be the next episode. That'll be the next thing we watch.
Something's obviously got wet because the first time it seemed to be okay, and now it won't hard turn over $3,000. It's back. Of course, if you hit it, take a chance on lifting the blower. You don't want that to happen.
Oh, let's give it a
Now
picture.
to go back to semifinal action, there is the Tropical
There we
Thunder
go.
truck in the far lane.
Bring it up
against the Carolina
right
Crusher, the near lane. Porter against Smozanic.
Both drivers have been having electrical problems all weekend long. It's really weird.
Once again, strikes Wayne Smozanic as he will go to the truck.
Porter goes to the
Porter
final.
goes to the championship round. So just what a visible weekend for Wayne Smozanic.
Every racer's had a weekend like this. Now, he'll find out what has been going wrong, and he'll just hit his forehead like, oh, man.
Take a look again. Smozanic in the far lane, a problem right off the start. Gary realized that.
Rest in
took a
peace,
pretty
Wayne.
easy run in the Carolina Crusher.
That does move him into the final. The big question is the old rivalry between Equalizer and Bigfoot. The difference is Bigfoot's got a new shoe driving it.
Well, here's that matchup right now, and there is Gene Patterson. He's been with the Bigfoot organization for a number of years, and he steps into Bigfoot 10, vacated by Andy Brass when Brass goes to Wildfoot. And there is the equalizer out of Tennessee with young David Morris.
Oh, Gene Patterson, when we do an interview, he kind of walks away from the camera. He holds up his index, his little finger, and his thumb, which is a sign for hang loose. You know, anybody's been in Hawaii, that is kind of his logo, and that's the way he drives the truck. Hey, just hang loose, give it 100%, and it'll all work out for you. Let's see if it works.
There we go.
Well, the winner here goes up against the Carolina Crusher for the championship. Good start by the equalizer. Who's going to take it? Gene Patterson takes it in Bigfoot. Bigfoot, Gene Patterson advances to the championship against the Carolina Crusher.
Chevrolet and Ford, Gary, going to the finals.
On the replay, watch the two different driving styles. In the near lane, Equalizer rolls over this first jump, while Gene Patterson and Bigfoot jumps the first jump. And right here, Patterson gets the advantage, and he takes the measure of the Equalizer. He goes to the championship.
Hey, Nick, another question for you, buddy. new back channel episodes coming out eventually, or is you kind of slowing down for the rest of the year?
On the other end, we couldn't tell. We were on the starting line, and it looked awfully close.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I really didn't get what I needed in between the cars right there. I had to fight just a little bit, and then I, kind of lost some of my forward speed there trying to get it straight. But that's racing.
And here's one more look now as David Morris walks away, realizing his day is finished here in Lima, Ohio. Again, he rolls over that first jump.
In order to roll, you got to stay
I
off
get
the
you, man.
throttle. Okay, and that's exactly
Life
what
gets
caused
busy. I
the
understand
forward
that
speed he was
completely.
looking for.
Well, as we take another look, right now, Army standing by with the man Gene Patterson will meet in the finals. Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher.
Gary, you and Bigfoot going into the finals, man. How quick your luck can change in this sport.
It is, the track's getting faster and faster. And I think, if I can keep my truck, in the motor running like
Another
this
epic
last
mullet
pass,
right
I
there.
think I can take them.
Well, it looks like Bigfoot and the driver Gene Patterson are back in the pit area. Let's go back there and check in with Gene.
Okay, it's kind of a unique situation. We were talking to the crew about an hour ago. He wasn't even supposed to be here. He's going to be in the final, but you get lane choice. What'd y'all decide on as far as lanes?
We're going to go ahead and take the right lane, Army. We've bounced back and forth all day here, and the sun kind of pops out and it goes back in. These lanes are changing every round. Ford, it's hooking up for us. We keep tuning in between rounds. We're going to put this Ford in the finals. We've been here before. I'm sitting in Andy's shoes.
Oh, that's going to be cool to see, Mark. It's cool that you posted this stuff when you were in Dawson Creek heading to Alaska. I'm only an hour and a bit away from Dawson Creek, so you probably drove through Grand Prairie, Alberta a couple times. That's where I live, so that's really cool that you've posted that. Because yeah, I've been around this area basically my whole life.
Welcome back to the
look at that clean
Lima, Ohio, where
Jimmy
Ford
right there.
present the Penda four-wheel and
man.
off-road jamboree.
Oh, that's a cool van.
A part of the BF Goodrich Performance Series. These jamborees offer a host of activities for the truck lover as well as the entire family.
You don't want to wait?
Color Right Special Events Promotion Company. Well, Army Armstrong,
You don't want to wait for our lives to be over?
There's one of the contenders right there, Gene Patterson in Bigfoot, and he will pull up alongside Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher.
Over the years, we've seen these trucks go head-to-head quite a few times, but there's one difference. The face of the driver in the big blue truck. Porter, I wonder if he is going to try to intimidate this new driver, or if they're just going to go up there and lay it on the line and just do some heads-up racing. Okay,
he always had the best camera angles. It doesn't matter what they were doing.
Vehicle, and obviously a new driver in Gene Patterson, but he knows this truck very well and he's very competent.
Exactly, but also he knows what pressure is because Andy Brass won in the truck. He's got to step up into those shoes. It's just a good old-style heads-up race. So he's going to take it.
And it is Gene Patterson, Bigfoot, the big blue Ford from St. Louis. A handshake from the crew chiefs. And Bigfoot in victory lane. How many times have we said that? Only this time, Gene Patterson in the cockpit.
He not only stepped up into Andy Brass's shoes, he found out they were tap shoes because he was tap dancing all over everybody today. Congratulations to him.
And he wins it here in the rain and the gloom of Lima, Ohio at the Allen County Fairgrounds. One more look at the championship run of Gene Patterson. Let's go down to victory lane. There's a look at Gene.
Well, Gene, congratulations. No guts, no glory, and you get the glory today. Great job.
Thanks a lot, Army. It's tough running here today. Like I said earlier, the rain, kind of played a hamper on us. The weather conditions changing on us all day long. Ford, Bigfoot, we're making all kinds of power out here this year. We're gunning for these boys. Last year, a couple of them won the war, but the battle's just begun for me. I'm a rookie sitting in this seat. And that Wildfoot went out the first round. We were gunning for him. He took us out in the finals yesterday. We're there. Firestone, Trailmaster, BDS, MSD, Autometer. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here in the winter circle this weekend. Just thanks a lot, and everybody back at the shop. Appreciate the help. We'll see you home with a trophy this week.
Well, he is far from a rookie, but wouldn't every rookie like to have a set of wheels like that?
What amazes me is
Oh, me too, Mark. It's funny. My wife always gives me crap for watching the old stuff, but this is what I love to watch. All right, so let's get to the 95 episode. Present, share screen. Boom. All right, here we go. Now, Nick, how rare is this? How rare is this episode? Because I got told this is pretty rare.
It's the start of a new season, and while optimism brims for every team in the Penda Point Series chase, there are those who are chomping at the bit, eager to erase last year's unbearable showing. Oh. Then there are individuals hoping to continue riding the crest of newfound success discovered at the end of last season. But for one, opening day jitters are coupled with career concerns because this is day one on the job, where just maintaining the status quo makes you a prisoner of past success.
Oh.
I'd love to find like a complete unedited version of this song, like for the intro for this podcast. I would love to have this song as the intro for what we do.
Today on Trucks and Tractor Power, we feature the best in MTRA monster truck racing. From the RCA Dome in downtown Indianapolis, it's the Monster Truck Thunder Drags. It's a brand new racing season. This is stop number 1 on the Penda Points Championship. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee, and welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power. You know, this ushers in a brand new era in monster truck racing. We'll call it AB, after Brass. Andy Brass, a longtime perennial favorite and champion, the driver of the Bigfoot racer, no longer driving, but he is still involved in monster truck competition. A new format this year. We'll see the fastest 2 losers of round 1 going against each other in round 2.
Patrick,
and also, as in any new season, you need a program to know the players and the trucks. And joining us once again this year, my longtime broadcasting colleague, here's Army Armstrong.
Well, Gary, the era of AB Andy Brass may be over, but I tell you what, I'm not going to count out the era of GD, the Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson. You can't bury this guy. Everybody want to see him come out and run on this circuit. Well, believe me, he's here and he's running big time. As a matter of fact, he's going to get back into the round through the loser bracket. You talk about luck, he's just grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's the Gravedigger. Anderson, keep an eye on this guy. Dodge Express, Ken Deppy. The Dodge people seem to be happy as Deppy goes back with Fred Schaefer, and that combination seems to be working real good for those guys. And Chevrolet all of a sudden starts to flex this muscle this year. Where are the Fords, you say? Real simple. They had a good qualifying time. The blue Ford did, of Eric Mager, but it ain't going to work. He breaks the transmission, goes out in the first round. So right now, the Chevrolets, for the first time in a couple of years, seem to be the dominant factor in this sport. I say that.
Oh, yes, I remember. He went.
Oh, Gravedigger, Chevy power. Back to you, Gary.
Well, Army, you knew this was not going to be a good night for Bob Chandler and his team when the Power
and
Wheels
a rare
Bigfoot,
Lonnie Childress driving Power Wheels
by veteran Lonnie Childress, who was subbing for Dan Runte, had to be towed off the starting line in qualifying. Done for the night. Bright spot for the Bigfoot organization was Eric Meager, who replaces Andy Brass in Bigfoot. He was the fast qualifier. And we have some highlights from round 1 competition as he went up against Mark Hall in the Executioner. And Meager turned in a stellar 3.82 run, as we'll see right here. This is action from round 1. But at the end of the run, he developed drive shaft problems and could not continue. So all the work on Bigfoot was down in the pit area, working on the drive shaft, and he was out of competition. And there is Kirk Dabney, the 1994 Fall Nationals winner here at Indy, looking to continue where he left off. But the Chevy of Paul Schaefer knocked him out in round 1. Dabney was actually the second quick loser in round 1, but he also developed some problems after the run, and another Ford could not answer the bell for round 2. And that opened the door for Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. The Gravedigger, who just got eked out by Fred Schaefer in a great race. Now, once again, this is round 1 highlights. Fred Schaefer the far lane, Gravedigger the near lane. And look at the margin of victory for Fred Schaefer. There's the barefoot time of 4.05. Now, here's how they stack up for round 2. The Executioner against Barefoot, the Monster Patrol against Sampson, Carolina Crusher, and the 2 fast losers, the Dodge Express and the Gravedigger. The widescreen television here in the RCA Dome as we are getting ready for round 2 competition.
Oh, look at the hair. Look at the hair.
Yeah, but Hall will be going up against a guy that's trying to turn last year's luck around, the big Dodge of Fred Schaefer, the Barefoot Boys.
Executioner near lane with Hall. Fred Schaefer far lane with Barefoot.
Schaefer leads when the light goes green. Hall does not. But look at the attitude that Schaefer goes over the finish line. It's a nose-down attitude. We'll be keeping an eye on that attitude later to see if the truck is set up right.
Faster that run than the first round, but
I just
Mark
noticed how
Hall
the
has a
front-
problem,
that
and
front
he
end
pulls
landed.
off the racetrack, so he is out of competition. Let's take you now back to opening qualifying for the toughest run we've seen so far today. Don Van Loo. Now, this is just to get into the field. Don made the show, but as we noted, was knocked out by Gary Porter in round 1. We'll have more round 2 action coming up after these messages. Welcome back to the RCA Dome in downtown Indianapolis, where Dan Patrick has teamed up with 2 of the winningest drivers in monster truck racing history as his crew chiefs. He has Gene Patterson and Andy Brass. Oh, there's a brain trust right there.
Yeah, now you talk about chemistry. Dan Patrick at one time worked for the Bigfoot organization, too, so these guys know how to get along together.
Meanwhile, Paul Schaefer has looked quite impressive. The winner to face Fred Schaefer in the semis. There's the Monster Patrol of Paul Schaefer.
We said earlier about the Chevrolet seeming to be zeroing in on the problems they had in the past. Here are 2 good running Chevrolets. Question is, which one of them's going to roll over and get a hold of that big bear Dodge? We got a race.
Oh, Dan Patrick.
Another wheelie run. Dang.
He almost tips it over when it gets on his nose. An exciting ride for Dan Patrick and Sampson, 3.91 ET. And there is the Monster Patrol Paul Schaefer's 3.94.
We're talking chassis here. Dan Patrick, I said earlier about how you set the chassis up. Well, Dan Patrick is set up to dive at the finish line. Schaefer is to fly at the finish line.
First the wheelie, then he gets over on his nose and almost tips it over. Let's go trackside, Army.
Boy, it's amazing. It looks like it's getting back to 2 basic things, chassis and clutch.
Right, Army. What we've done here is we spent a lot of time on the phone this week doing clutch combinations, finding out what to do, what not to do. It's tough when we're qualifying and racing in the same session. We would have a better advantage if we could qualify 3 or 4 hours earlier. But so now I kind of have to go in conservative, but we've got a lot of data this year on different clutch setups, gearing, and with the help of Gene and Andy Brass with me next year, I think with their years of experience, we're going to come out for blood.
Nick, do you know
and them
how
blue
long
guys are just going to have to
Andy
scratch their
stayed
heads.
with
another new face is Alan Pizzo in Predator. Now he knocked out Pam Botters in Boogie Van, and Pizzo will draw veteran Gary Porter here in round 2.
It's going to be a good race. Alan is a traveling pro, has not run this circuit with us before in the past, but he's always made a good name and a good accounting for himself. People that follow the sport know about Gary Porter. What can you say? If you like Chevrolet, you got to be pulling for this guy.
Well, of course, he's a past champion of monster truck competition. He lines up in the near lane in the Chevrolet. Both are now staged.
Whoa, good
wheels
lead by
up.
Porter.
Well, Porter takes the victory. He likes the longer tracks. We can really muscle that horsepower. A 3.86, and he almost takes it out the airlock here at the RCA Dome. He used every bit of shutdown area. Allen's run was a 4.09. Well, the next staging, Ken Deppy, back as driver of the Dodge Express. At the far lane, Dennis Anderson, a crowd favorite in the Gravedigger, the 1950 panel wagon. But right now, before this run, let's go back trackside and visit with Gary Porter. Army?
It looks like you Chevrolet guys got together and got them Fords in the crosshairs. It's looking good for you.
I hope so, Army. The last couple of years we've been sort of down, a little bit. Not running 100%, but, hopefully 95 will be better for us.
I noticed a lot of the teams are working together now. You give information to them, they give information to you. That's got to help you.
That's right. That helps a lot. It's not only teamwork on our trucks, but the whole team on the whole series, and that makes a lot of difference.
Okay, back to the starting line now. Round 2 competition continues with Deppy in their lane. Dennis Anderson, the Gravedigger in the far lane.
I like the look of Dodge
the
Express.
crowd loves to see
I like the
Dennis
way that,
Anderson back on the Penda Series.
Well, he's always said he can run with these guys anytime. Well, before he gets a chance to step up and
Just
prove
simple.
if he can do it or not. And listen how quiet. All these people in this building, listen how quiet they are to watch this race.
Oh, Dennis, Dennis Anderson got the hole shot. Ken Deppy came back on him, but Anderson wins it with an ET of 3.91.
Yeah, but Ken Deppy comes out like a kamikaze and dives to a 4.01. So that team seems to have found the combination they were looking for, but the start is so important. Watch Anderson literally just wheels up and powers over the first jump, Gary.
That's why I just
first pen to race since Columbus of 1992 for Dennis Anderson. He's climbing out of his rig. And where's Army? Army?
I tell you what, the fans are going wild. And Dennis, if you're walking around here with your crew like a Cheshire cat, like you got them right where you want them.
Well, we do. You know, we've been kind of easing up on the race. We had a new piece in the truck, and really I was afraid to go all out. But once it come down to the last straw, we had to go all out and give it all we had. So that last run, we were going for broke, and it paid off.
That's not only the cowboy way, that's the gravedigger way, isn't it?
Hey, that's right. I used to always flip that coin and take that 50-50 chance, you know, and sometimes we survived, sometimes we didn't. In this case, I survived, and I'll be back again.
Always aggressive, always spectacular. Stay with us.
This, Kirk, this
back
is
at the RCA Dome. We are
94,
down now to the
but for the
semis.
95
It's Dodge
season. This is
against
kind of a
Chevrolet.
rare
There is the
event.
barefoot Dodge of Fred Schaefer, and there is an accepting nod by Gene Patterson, the crew chief for the Samson truck. Dan Patrick, the Chevrolet in the near lane.
Boy, it's amazing the drama in this building because both of these fellas, it's been a long time since they've been this deep into the field. The new year, they both believe they got a clean slate and they both want to win.
And it's Dodge, Fred Schaefer. Hey, he's not come this far in a long time. It was a trying season last year for him, getting this season off to a good start as he knocks Dan Patrick out in the Samson truck. And Schaefer won a 378. Patrick was a 393. So the Dodge continues on. We're staging now the Carolina Crusher. This time it's Chevy against Chevy, pickup against panel. There is the Gravedigger. Let's talk now to Fred Schaefer. Fred?
Boy, it's amazing how you Dodge and Chevrolet boys seem to have found the handle tonight.
We've been changing things every round, Harvey, and every round we're going faster. We're looking real good for the final.
So far, it appears the Gravedigger has not been spinning his wheels. And an earlier Army took a look at how Dennis hopes to keep the rubber on the racetrack.
Now, what digger is that? I can't.
Mark
Sometimes I can't tell what certain chassis are with, so I don't know what digger that is.
Watch the tire and the wheel combination to make sure that this tire does not spin on this wheel. Now, drag racers found out many years ago that they can actually kill a tire and spin it on the rim. That's no good, especially when these tires weigh about 2,000 pounds. So, again, we're starting to see the little bitty things mount up to be the big things. That's why these guys are going quicker. They're paying attention to detail.
Digger
Back to you, Gary.
Now at the starting line, Dennis Anderson and Gary Porter, the 1950
Who knew
Chevy
years
panel
later
wagon,
that
the
would
Gravedigger,
that truck
the far lane, the Carolina
would just
Crusher,
be
the pickup
ripping
Chevrolet in the near
in
lane.
2000, just
Two old pros
freestyle like a
fight right here. Gary
nasty
Porter's not afraid of Anderson.
beast.
Anderson's sitting there grinning. We told you he thinks he's got this field covered. But Porter's got something else in his mind.
Hole shot. Porter.
Two old friends going at her right there. I love it.
The Chevy pickup truck, Gary Porter, at 386, will advance to the finals. The Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson, 416. So it's Anderson.
And that's the last time you saw
trailer,
Dennis Anderson in the Penda Series, I believe.
finals. Let's take a
That's
look
what I've
again.
heard about.
Oh, you said Anderson's going to the trailer. You know where he's going? He's going outside selling T-shirts right now. He's still going to make him some money. Gary Porter, it was a good race by both trucks. Porter just have a trick on the line.
All right, let's talk to your winner. Here's Gary Porter.
Well, you and Dennis Anderson's a good friends till you pull up to the starting line. I think this win goes on your side of the ledger. It's got to make it feel good.
Yeah, it sure does. You know, me and Dennis, we got started, about the same time, about 9.5 years ago with monster trucks. And, we travel up and down the road with one another.
Yeah, I agree, Sean.
When we pull to the line, you better believe we're just out to win.
I'm
that
excited
race,
to go to World Finals next year.
Our
Being
friendship
2 days
when we
again.
pull to the line.
I think.
So as we get set for the finals, let's show you the winner of the tough truck competition, Joe Brozovic.
Oh, Joe Brozovic.
Out of Joliet, Illinois.
Yes.
There's Joliet Joe taking on Shane Ballard in the Zebra Jeep from Springfield, Missouri. Now,
tough truck
adjusting the
action.
helmet and the neck strap. It was a good start for both, but Brozovic has a problem when he gets to that first right-hand turn. Simply forgot to turn, Army.
Well, Joliet Joe had a problem there. Ballard in the Yipe Stripes vehicle, if you will, the Zebra-type vehicle, he's starting to become kind of a cult hero here. He's out of Springfield, Missouri, follows the circuit, and
with the popularity of this sport, everybody seems to know who this guy is, and he gets a thrill out of running over those jumps and whacking that big tire.
Reckless abandon. Now watch this. He almost rolls the thing over. Crowd loves it, and he goes
I wonder
on
how
to
many
the
like
win. We're
how
coming
Trust
back
got
with
messed
more
up because of
competition.
those damn tires.
The Monster Truck Thunder Drags are part of the Special Events Performance Series, which offers a weekend of four-wheel fun. Visit the manufacturer's Midway or check out the Show and Shine competition. To find out more, contact the Special Events Promotion Company. Come see a Jamboree and Performance Series event. Welcome back. We're at the RCA Dome, and chances are you can end up on one of those big screens. Oh, the fans love seeing themselves. Well, as we were talking about the tough trucks, we could call this next run Doom in the Dome. Dave Fontanetta in the red Jeep.
Oh, look at that
Laying
fire,
closest to you, taking on Kent Dickerson in the white Jeep. Well, clearly beaten, but watch what happens. A little extra effort at the very end is going to cost him. Now watch this.
Oh, stupid advertisement.
You're watching a toothbrush play Billie Eilish.
Hang on. Whoops. Well, that's what a roll cage is for. Now, he's all right. This was earlier this evening. He even climbs out of the Jeep and helps him push it back over. But listen to the crowd. Oh, my. Hey, listen, that was not the only action we saw with the tough truck. We also had some wild rides with these quad runners.
And a couple of them didn't get along too well.
This is the Phantom Wheel, I think. Wait a minute, guys.
Let's
this was
race.
not the competition that we came to see.
He did get a couple good shots in
Yeah,
there.
but you can break your hand hitting a helmet like that. Hey, let's go racing for the finals. We are set. Two guys who would like very much to forget about last season. And prior to these guys staging these two trucks, Army had a chance to talk with both of them.
Well, you were talking about a final. I was talking about the Chevrolets, you and Gary Porter. Boy, it's going to be a sweet race.
I think right now I got fast time, Army, and we're changing something every round. I think it's going a
something
little
that you're
faster this
gonna-
round. I'm going to hang right in there.
I think the truck's got more in it.
I think it's got a little bit.
Damn it.
Well, we keep talking about everybody sharing information here. You got a chalkboard and a big smile on your face, and you're in the final. How's that make you feel?
Really good. It's been a long time since I made it this far on one of these, tough series races. And, I just like to thank, Neil Chance's converters for giving me a converter to go out here and take this punishment.
Boy, he does make a good converter because you guys are coming off that starting line.
Yeah, it really does. It's Fulton Motors, really putting out some power going through that, the Chance transmissions
probably
and
be the
converters.
last,
And we can just
thing
keep
we
up the
watch
pace. I
tonight,
think we'll be
guys.
okay.
Well, he got all the sponsors, I think, mentioned there.
I
When
won't lose
was
power.
the last time we
Pretty
didn't
warm
see
out
a
here
fourth
right
the
now, so-
final?
Well, Andy Brass
Hopefully
not mentioned
my
sponsors
fan blowing
unique
behind
to
me
me.
doesn't-
He was
you
sitting
don't
there
hear too
just
much.
grinning.
Come on,
That's
play
good to see you
mustaches.
All
He's
right,
just a
Gary Porter
mustache.
in his Chevrolet. There
Mustache
is the
party.
barefoot Dodge of Fred Schaefer, winless in '94. Wouldn't he like to pick up the win here in the RCA Dome? His crew looks on. Dodge, the far lane. Chevrolet, the near lane. A Ford not even in view.
Not even in the top four this weekend. Both drivers working the line. They respect each other. They're not going to give the other guy anything. Porter the last to go into the starting lane. Both of them coming up on the RPM now once they get staged.
Gary Porter by a fender. Gary Porter by a 10th of a second. There's the time, 3:64.
Oh, he was
Fred
going
Schaefer,
for bear.
3:74.
But-
1/10 of a second.
I'm a
Chevrolet
dork.
beats out the Dodge, and I think that speaks of what type of a competitive season we will have this year in the Penda Point Series.
Chevrolet people enjoy it. It's been all last year waiting for it. It's been a long time coming. Sure got to feel good. And the Dodge boys are looking
What is
good.
my favorite
This is going to be a
barefoot
good year of racing in the monster truck world, Gary.
Probably the
That's
OG
how
Dodge.
close it was as Gary
The
Porter
block
takes
letter.
the victory, the Carolina Crusher. He climbs out. Army is headed that direction.
Yo, Nick, what?
Great run. everybody here feels
Dude,
good about this. Even
please,
your competitors are glad you won this thing.
send
You've
me
been working so hard to get the combination
shots
back.
of like
Yeah, I really
in-
appreciate it, Army. You know, all these competitors out here.
in this.
You know, they
The
stick
rainbow
behind
scheme
me.
I
You know,
think is
we've had a
underrated though.
tough
I
couple
think
of years,
that was
and,
a sick scheme.
You know, I mean, it's just been
I
great.
would have loved
You know,
to see
I think I got a good truck. It took me a while to come around with it.
barefoot,
But I think we're going places.
but
Yeah, you're going places
of
like a
the Dodge
364.
Pro
That's
Stalker
awesome.
of
The
that
new torque
era.
converter's working for you. And you know, for the first
look
time
of
in a
it, at
couple of years, Chevrolet has a national points lead after one race. That's got to make you proud. Got to make Chevrolet awfully happy too.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, how could you? What kind of better way could you start a new year? You know, taking the first win, and you know, the truck's running good, and hopefully we can just keep on doing this rest of the year.
Well, if the first show of the year is any indication, a most competitive series for the Penda Points Championship. Look who.
And there we go, guys. That is it for tonight. Not too sure who we have on next week. I think it was Tim Dyson. I will confirm that with Cheech, and check up on your friends and family. Mental health is very important. Mental health is very important. If you're struggling or going through anything, please reach out to somebody. Your life is worth more than losing it. Keep your pet spayed and neutered, and I will see y'all next week. Bye. Keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Bye. Mark Hudson.